Hello, everyone, and welcome to Startup Showdown. My name is Jasmine Hoffman, Jasmine Ward now, and I am the head of experience at Tech United. Very excited to have you all here with us today as we dive into the incredible landscape that is health and wellness innovation. We're thrilled to have you all with us today in this episode powered by Tech United, Middlesex County, and Tech Council Ventures. We have three incredible startups that are going to be joining us to pitch. These founders come from all over and are tackling three unique challenges that are currently facing our healthcare landscape. I'm going to introduce you to the founders shortly, and we're going to have our investors and judges say hello in just a moment. Hallie, whenever you're ready, you can stop screen sharing, and I'm going to share with our audience a little bit of the rules of Startup Showdown. So Startup Showdown is a series that Tech United started with Tech Council Ventures back in 2020. We wanted to provide an opportunity for founders and startups to connect with the investors and experts that they really need to grow. So the purpose of this episode is to hear these pitches, understand the feedback and questions that come from investors and experts in the business world, and get to pose your own questions to these incredible founders. If you are joining us for the very first time and this is new information to you, please join in the chat, say hello, where you're joining us from. As each startup is pitching, make sure you're paying attention to their deck and that you put any questions you'd like me to pose to them in the Q&A, and I'll be sure to do just that. At the end of the episode, we'll be voting on who was our audience choice founder pitch of the day. So make sure you stick around for that vote just towards the end of the episode around 12:50. Without any further ado, I'm going to get started. We're going to bring on our founders in just a couple minutes, starting with Miata. However, I'd love for our judges and investor experts today to introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Pavita.
Hello, I'm Pavita Howe, and I'm Director of Entrepreneurship Partnerships at Rutgers University. I work with alumni entrepreneurs as well as faculty and students to help bring visibility to entrepreneurship at Rutgers and also to connect people to the entrepreneurial ecosystem, both within the university and in the broader New Jersey community. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. If anyone knows Pavita, she is, I think, the most active person in that New Jersey entrepreneurial community that I have ever met. Every day on LinkedIn, she's always advocating for all these new opportunities. Her Rutgers alumni companies, she is an incredible powerhouse. So we're excited to have you here today. Alongside Pavita, we have the incredible Sandy also joining us. Sandy, please say hello and introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Jasmine, for having me here today. And thank you, Haley, also for helping to coordinate this event. Truly appreciate the partnership with Tech United that the county has. My name is Sandy Castor. I am the director of the Office of Business Engagement here at Middlesex County. And our work is really focused on nurturing the innovation ecosystem here that exists in the county and also looking to expand it. This particular group of companies that we get to meet and learn more about today, I'm really excited because we're really leaning in health services, especially in the telehealth space. So a lot of the companies that I'll be sharing today are right in alignment with our core focus here at the county. So thank you again for having us, and I look forward to hearing from the different companies today.
Sandy, thanks for being here. Thanks for partnering with us on this. And last but not least, our Startup Showdown investor veteran, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, our group, Tech Council Ventures, is an early stage institutional investor in companies throughout the region, all different industries that are tech-centric, and we've been very active in healthcare. So excited to hear more about these great companies and hearing about what their opportunity is.
Awesome, Jim. Well, we have three companies today. We've got Better Days, Newus, and Vital Start Health. Better Days is going to be coming up first. As all of you know, the healthcare industry is one of the most frequently disrupted industries, and innovation in this industry has just been absolutely booming, especially since 2020, when we all know there was a little healthcare crisis that affected a lot of us. There are over 350,000 healthcare apps just available on the mobile platform within this industry, and there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands more that are B2B and impacting healthcare and wellness at every level of patient care, development, and even post-procedure opportunities. We're going to get started first with Miata, who's going to present her 5-minute pitch on Better Days. We're really excited to have you here. Everyone listen up. I'm looking forward to hearing your questions for her. Joe, we're going to bring you on second right after Miata Sketch, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Miata,
I can
whenever
share my
you're ready.
screen? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me just pull up my screen. Sorry. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Great.
Yes, whenever you're ready to go full screen, we're ready. Perfect.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miata Rose Christopher. I'm the founder of Better Days Mental Health Connections, also known as Better Days. So Better Days is a healthcare app that connects individuals with mental health providers. The idea behind Better Days is that dealing with mental health is hard. Better Days makes it easy. So within the United States of America, one in 14 people, according to NAMI, suffer with an unmet mental health need. What that means is that there are people who want to have access to mental health care, but they don't know where to get it from. So what Better Days does is it kind of destigmatizes the anxiety around mental health by creating a community of people who care, by connecting people to professionals, connecting people to professionals, licensed clinical psychologists, social workers, group homes, residentials. At the top, you can see that we have 10 categories that Better Days connects people with. And these categories range from long-term care facilities, such as a residential home, or a short-term care facility, such as a psychiatric hospital. Now, this Better Days is based in New Jersey. However, it can go nationwide. So these statistics are for New Jersey. But it can go nationwide. So 40% of the population deals with an unmet mental health need. And this 40% is also people who have insurance. So Better Days does target individuals who do have insurance. There's less than 4% market freeze. And this is due to the fact that healthcare, and especially mental health care, is continuously growing. People are starting to learn that mental health is not stigmatized. So they're starting to come out and want care and want access to care. Though this is it's still a little bit of a taboo, it's starting to get more and more recognition. So the average profit margin is 40 to 60%. That's after you pay your deductibles and things of that nature. The growth rate to 2024 is 36%, and the profit pool is 27.9 billion. And this is for America as a whole. And that being after, so let me backtrack, I apologize. Better Days is considered a healthcare IT company because we collect data, and by data I mean we have things called care groups, and a care group is a subcategory that individuals can join, and they can learn about schizophrenia, bipolar, or anxiety, and they can ask other people who have these illnesses as well. So how do we make our money? Great question. We make our money through charging care providers and care agencies and advertisement firms. So let me just explain what a care provider is. A care provider is an individual who is licensed, like a licensed clinical social worker, who can practice in the state of New Jersey or the other states in America, and they are charged $100 per month to be on Better Days site. I want to backtrack just for a second and state that I currently work in a mental health institution as I go to school for a Master's of Health Administration. So I do understand that $100 may seem like a lot, but the institution that I work at, we're called $1 million home. And by that, I mean, we have 4 individuals, and each year we bring in $2 million. So the $100 that they're bringing in, that they have to pay per month to be on the site really isn't that much. On top of that, they pay $10 for every person who signs up through our platform. So the platform is, you go on the Better Days website as a care provider, a care agent, advertising firm, and you create an account. And the account allows you to do what it says on the following. You can manage and track advertisements. You can communicate with the person's site users, both directly and indirectly through direct messages, or you can post, like, for lack of a better word, a tweet about mental health in general, and people will be able to respond to that. Agreed upon access to personal site users' information. And a personal site user is an individual like you or me or your friend, anyone who you love, who uses the site to gain information about mental health or to seek out services. A care agency, on the flip side, is an organization. So it's not a solo practitioner, which is what a care provider is. It's an organization. So let's say a mental health hospital, so Carrier Clinic or things of that nature. And they have the same amount of access to the Better Days platform. They just pay a little bit more because they have more people under their belt. Now, an advertisement firm they pay $500 a month, and that's a flat fee. They don't have to pay on top of that. The care agencies and the care providers do pay on top of that. They pay $10 when the person signs up under them. The advertisement firms, so we'll be targeting advertisements for, let's say, if you need medication, so Abilify, so organizations that provide medication can put advertisements on Better Days platform, and they can be like, we have this new medication, Abilify, and it does this, this, that, and the third. So it'll be posted on the Better Days platform, and they can post unlimitedly for the $500 that they pay per month. The funding that we have right now, we have $5,000 in bank investment, $10,000 in owner equity, and other investments is $2,000. So this is the profit just for New Jersey. But as I said before, it is a nationwide site. I just put the information for New Jersey because let me backtrack. To do a nationwide site, to do the profit for that, because providers make different amounts based off of how much they charge and also their experience within mental health care. So let's say you're a starting psychiatrist, you're not going to make the same amount as a psychiatrist that's been in the business for 10 to 15 years. They make more money. So it's kind of hard to summarize exactly how much it would make. So this is why we just stuck to New Jersey. We stuck to the categories which were listed right here. So sorry.
You're at time.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Fantastic job. Out of curiosity, where are you currently getting your master's?
Rutgers University.
That's what I thought. Kavita, we'll start with you.
I thought you might cue that up. It's good to see a Rutgers entrepreneur pitching here today. And also good job presenting. So don't be nervous. You know, this is it's a friendly group, and also you're working on something where you're hands-on and you obviously know the content well. So I had a couple of questions. The first was just how far along are you with developing this solution?
So we do have a website. The website was put up, but then it had some bugs, so it is getting fixed right now. The website is it's a WordPress website, so I kind of want to go back and I kind of want to edit the website to make it more so user-friendly. Because although WordPress is user-friendly, the fact that we want to go nationwide, it needs to be it needs some tweaks. So
Okay.
right now we're in the process of revamping the website. And it should take us about to the end of this month to get it where we want it to be.
And so have you talked to some of these agencies and providers about this solution and, you know, what they think of it and your cost model too?
Yes. So as I said before, I work in healthcare. So I talked to my boss, who actually owns the organization, and they would be considered a care agency because they own a couple, so not a solo provider. And they think it's a really good idea. The only thing that they were concerned about was let me just backtrack. I work with developmentally delayed in healthcare. So people who are developmentally delayed but also have behaviors, and they get paid a certain stipend. So they were concerned that if you get $10 extra for every person that comes in every month, like if they keep signing up, it might take away from them. So that's where their concern was at. But overall, they did agree they did like it, and they said once it goes up, they would sign up for it. I did talk to another friend of mine who is a psychologist, and she also agreed to it and liked it. She's a solo practitioner, and she also said that her concern as being a solo practitioner would be that she would want to see other people sign up for it first before she signs up for it. But once other people sign up for it, she would then sign up for it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Sandy, what are your thoughts?
First, I want to say this has been a great presentation, and I love that you are leaning in here on the mental health space. Coming out of the pandemic, I think mental health has definitely taken a front seat, and that's not just for adults. I think that's for children as well. So I'm a little bit curious as to the demographic that you are seeking to provide this service to. And then secondary to that, I'm curious as to how you came to the advertisement firm's monthly fee and rate. And then I'll stop there. I do have more questions, but I'm question heavy, so I apologize in advance.
No, it's totally fine. So in America, now my statistics came from Statistica and IBIS World. So those are databases that pull from all over the world, but they use America statistics. So I focus solely on America. And between the age groups, 18 to 25 are the ones who are highest for suicide rates. So those are the ones that we are not targeting, but those are the ones that we're focusing more so on, because that shouldn't be the case. You know, people shouldn't be ending their lives because they can't access help. So that's personal to my heart, but we do serve all age groups as long as, I mean, if you're under the age of 18, you need parent permission to be on the site, you know what I mean? Because you need your child. So we are a friendly site, but we do focus more towards the adult population just because they have insurance and things of that nature, and they're able to, they're more so able to understand what's going on. Children, I have worked with children before when I was a counselor, and when I worked with the children, from my personal understanding of it, it's just for me, is that they needed more guidance towards understanding what they were dealing with, and they were kind of not naive, but they didn't really know what mental illness was, and they didn't really know that, let's say they had depression, but they didn't really know what that was, and they didn't really want to get help for it. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. And I guess my second question was, how did you come to the monthly fee for the advertisement firms?
So advertisement firms, compared to care providers and care agencies, advertising firms are usually a lot bigger, right? And because they're so big, they usually have a bigger pool of resources that they can pull from. And that's why I looked at a couple advertising firms in New Jersey, and I saw that this was, it made more sense. I also pulled up data from public information records of how much they were making per year for some advertisement firms, and it just made sense. So
I guess my only recommendation there would be, if I could be so bold, I would revisit that number, right? And I wouldn't shortchange yourself. I think oftentimes companies shortchange themselves because it may be a space that they're less familiar with. Advertising can be a very nuanced space. So depending upon how large your audience is, how many individual providers or organizations that you're working with, and then also the pool of individuals that are accessing your app or platform, that number factors into the advertisement dollars that you could get. So I would, that would be my only recommendation, is potentially revisiting that number as you continue to grow, and evaluating if it makes sense going forward, because at the end of the day, you need to be able to be self-sufficient. And so you want to make sure that you're not shortchanging yourself.
thank you. Yes, I'll definitely go back and look into it. Thank you so much.
Very sound advice, Sandy. Jim, your thoughts?
Sure. Well, I would echo, I think, I know what both Pravita and Sandy said. I think there's a huge opportunity here. The sad reality is that, and to be candid, I think everybody, all 8 billion people on the planet have some type of mental health challenges, whether it's depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, schizoaffective, the whole 9 yards. So I think there's, to make a positive difference, I think there's a lot of opportunity. That's the good news. I guess to me, the challenge is that, the brain is so little understood, in every different type of way. And so I think what I heard, Miata, is that you're talking about, matching patients to the right provider. And that's everything, right? If you have schizophrenia, right, and trying to find the right provider is vital, because then they can give you the prescription, hopefully that's going to match your situation. And it's very, I'm not sure what the word objective, it's not quantifiable. So I think that what you're saying is accurate, but I guess I'd just be curious to better understand that, because there's so many different types of providers. The average person is, not as educated as they need to be. And even if they are, trying to better understand your diagnosis, the categories. So anyway, there's just a lot of uncertainty. So I think there's big opportunity, and maybe partnering is the way. So I don't know. I know that's a lot, but I'm curious what your response is to some of those comments.
Yeah, of course. So we deal with 10 care providers and agencies. So we have psychologists, psychiatrists, licensed clinical social workers, residential facilities, which has 4 under them as themselves. So they have group homes, psych hospitals, nursing facilities, because unfortunately, when you deal with nursing facilities, you usually have dementia patients, and dementia is usually associated with mental health. So, because your brain's decaying and then you have certain concerns. So we deal with 10 entities as a whole. And within those 10 entities, individuals can find what is best for them. So we do understand that there are individuals who will be life coaches, but we don't include them. We don't understand that there are also spiritual coaches. We don't include them either. Not because we don't agree with it, but because we needed to close in on what we thought would be the best to be able to help the population as a whole. And yes, people are not usually as educated as we all wish they should be when it comes to mental health. And mental health is a huge taboo, which is unfortunate. But what Better Days really hopes to do is by creating a more or less a social media platform that connects people with all these services and fosters community discussion and things of that nature, we really hope to be a champion to decrease the stigma around mental illness, because not only can it increase life quality, it can also increase profit for everyone. And by that, I mean, we're learning right now in school, I do apologize, but we learn right now in school that the GDP, a lot of it goes to mental health in and of itself. And we're losing hours, we're losing businesses, we're losing so many factors. So if we can increase people's mental health space, mind space, then we can decrease the amount of money that we're wasting in America.
Yeah. I don't know if I have time for another comment, Jasmine, maybe not, but
You got a quick one, Jim.
Yeah, so listen, Miata, so you mentioned, Carrier Clinic. Clearly, it's a brand, but I think there's also opportunity to, because I think their model is more trying to find, get patients in, then get them out, right? Be more pragmatic. So I'm just curious, in that context, you kind of commented on, on the revenue model but so very specifically for them, how is Better Days, making money for them and making money for Better Days?
So so for Carrier Clinic, my friend has schizophrenia and she has been to Carrier Clinic, which is why I know about Carrier Clinic. You can actually go in, they have a, what you may call it, a section that you can go in and you can say, hey, I'm not doing so well. And they will see you by a psychiatrist. And if you have insurance, then they would take you. So usually to stay in a mental health hospital for a day is upwards to $700 for one day, because you're dealing with a psychiatrist, you're dealing with psychologists, social workers, all these other and upnot. So we would, instead of bringing people to the hospital, which would cost, like, let's say, I think it's $1,000, a little bit more just to visit a hospital, to see a psychiatrist and whatnot. If you go by ambulance, we would use Better Days to say, hey, if you're not feeling good, go to Carrier Clinic or go to this hospital instead. And then we would get paid through Carrier Clinic instead of them going to the hospital, spending more money, but they're going to Carrier Clinic and they're saving money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so there's an intermediate step. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for your pitch. We're going to bring you on at the end for our closing remarks. We're going to bring Joe up, who's going to be presenting Newus, and then we have Kritika in third, who will be going after Joe to present Vital Start. Joe, the floor is all yours. Yeah, so
Do I click leave? How do I get out?
Oh, just close your video and audio. We want you to stay on, so you're here for our closing remarks. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Joe, the timer is starting whenever you're full screen and ready to go.
Wait, as soon as I learn how to share this correctly, I would love to do so.
I believe if you go to view and do full screen, you should be good to go.
We've done this before, haven't we? It's not
On the top bar next to slideshow and record, you should see the view option, and that should allow you to do full screen.
okay. It was covered by the little bar that it's not slideshow.
If you go to view, Joe, like keep going over from slideshow, go to view.
Okay. View.
Click view, perfect.
Okay, then what do I do? Sorry. Is it
I'm
up?
sorry,
Slideshow from the beginning.
not coming full screen. You know what? Let's go this way because I don't want to.
I think I got it.
Hold you up. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Okay, I am very
Very good.
My name is Joe Connell. I'm founder and CEO of a company called Newus. And we truly believe we have something for everyone. We have something for everyone because we make human skin from soybeans. We take pure protein from soy, electrospin it into readily available sheets, and it's had some amazing science and properties that I'd like to share with you. 60% of who I am and 60% of who you are is skin, and nobody gets out of life without damaging it, some more severely than others. So the market is vast. It's a crowded market, but with all the other products on the market, they are derived from pigs, cows, cadavers, foreskins, and neonatal and placental materials. So we think an all-natural plant-based product would be acceptable. Even with a crowded market, the products come in three categories: unavailable, unaffordable, and unacceptable. And the unavailable products call for refrigeration, lab preparation, handling, and other issues that are costly and time-consuming. In 2014, Medicare bifurcated the whole market into high cost and low cost. Some of them are so expensive that they're just not affordable. I took a company public, and our product had a skin that was unavailable and unaffordable. It would take 10 weeks to grow your own skin and give it back to you. Lastly, with an all-natural plant-based skin going up against products from pigs, cows, cadavers, and placenta, we believe there are cultures and religions in the world that won't accept treatment from their products, but we would open those markets to those conscientious people. As I mentioned, it is a vast market, $78 billion approaching, from acute wounds, bed sores, diabetic foot ulcers. What we haven't touched on, and I won't have time to, is beauty, dermatology, and aesthetics for Mohs surgery, breast reconstruction, wrinkle removal. This layer of skin would rejuvenate the skin and accelerate healing. The first study we did is this porcine model that we performed at Temple. What we've proven is that a full thickness wound was healed with minimal to no scarring, which is a huge breakthrough. Armed with this data, we went head to head with a competitor from Smith & Nephew called Oasis. You'll see slides A, B, and C are my product. In slide A versus D, in 3 days, our epithelium was lined up and organized. And if you occlude a wound with a bandage like Oasis, you don't get that. But on day 7, we saw the appearances of sweat glands and hair follicles, which makes it regenerative. People heal faster and with a better appearance, as opposed to a thick, slick scar. We have minimal scar, hair follicles and sweat glands, and that wound bed was filled with brand new, newly produced collagen. You do not see that on the competition. Smith & Nephew has no idea who I am, but they better find out fast because it was compelling in our favor. And if you look at what we're going up against besides the cadaver and pig skin, these products, neonatal foreskin, amniotic tissue, they cost more. No one can process animal or cadaver tissue for less expense than I can spin soy. So for a quick review, it works better. The patient looks better, has a better appearance, and it costs orders of magnitude less, which is going to help us with the CMS guidelines for bundled payment when it comes to 2024. We have some research going on. We are poised to do our first in-man trial at Temple University with diabetic foot ulcers at the podiatry department. University of Pittsburgh, Dr. Peter Rubin is chairman of the plastic surgery department. We were fortunate enough to get into 2 of his studies paid for by the U.S. Army. One is a mouse study for thermal burns, and the other is a donor site repair for skin grafting. Anecdotally, we found our first and only side effect of soybean skin at the University of Pittsburgh. In the thermal burn study, they dressed the mice with our soybean skin. The mice found it so tasty, they ate their bandages. So we don't have any side effects, but it was a funny story. So we just wrapped the bandages a little bit tighter. The most compelling thing that hasn't happened yet is research out of University of Carnegie Mellon. They have studied and proven that our platform technology is the best delivery for stem cells and growth factors if you incorporate it into our bandage. And we have been at the Institute of Surgical Research for the U.S. Army for 1.5 years. in a donor site repair. The product is in front of the FDA now as a 510(k) device. Our prototypes are functioning and available. We need to raise some money now for the approval of the FDA and then manufacturing scale up and inventory in preparation for launch. We look to make customer acquisitions from the military. This should be in the backpack of every warfighter. It is readily available, lightweight, doesn't expire, and has no aversity to heat and cold temperatures. So otherwise in the civilian market, we will do bids and contracts to get market share because it is so much less expensive to manufacture. We've got a star-studded crew of scientific advisors. Peter Lukish at Temple is the chairman of the biotech department. He's the inventor, chief science advisor. We've got Dr. McGuire at Temple, chairman of the podiatry, one of the world's authorities in wound healing. Dr. Fermato is not only a doctor, but an engineer. He's working with us. And Dr. Gerstenhaber is the inventor of our portable electrospinner handheld. For our second product, we will be able to spray liquid skin onto patients without touching them in nursing homes, burn centers.
No, that's time. We have to move
in the
on
battlefield.
To the
So I'm out of time. I have a lot more that I could have said. But, thank you for this opportunity to present today.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to move straight into Jim's feedback. You can stop sharing whenever you're ready.
Great. Well, thanks.
Oh, stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm actually curious, Joe, is this something that you can do prophylactically? Like if I said, you know what, I'm tired of this thing between my eyebrows, I can put spray skin on and get rid of wrinkles. And
you know, that's a fabulous question, Jim. And in blue sky think tanks, we've come up with the fact that one day we'll make 1 billion little squares of this and put it on Band-Aids. And what mother wouldn't buy Band-Aids that prevent scars for Junior? I don't know prophylactically. I don't have the scientific data. We're well published in the scientific literature, but I don't think it would be effective.
Yeah.
Once things are healed, we would have to sand them down or do an ablation, and then it would heal much better than anything else you could apply.
But from the perspective, so this would be, I mean, notwithstanding the soldiers in the field, I would go to the dermatologists and they would put it on for burns or things like that, right? So it would be medically applied. Is that the thought?
Absolutely. We have 2 advisors who are very prominent in dermatology and aesthetics. They recommend putting a kit together of 20 patches of protein skin for post-laser ablation, because once you get your wrinkles removed with a laser, you only have Aquaphor or Vaseline and to sit at home out of the public view with a red face. This would rejuvenate the skin and accelerate healing and can be showered off every morning. I'm Irish, so Irish people are supposed to be pale and white, and I am, but I lived at the beach. I recently had a Mohs surgery to remove basal cell cancer. Every one of my Irish uncles has had Mohs surgery because we're just white people that get burned. So there's quite an opportunity. I'm a burn victim. My right leg was burned to the bone. To rebuild it called for 360 deep circles of skin, which caused 360 new wounds, 360 new scars. And it's more than a business. It's a mission for me to prevent as many people as possible from getting skin grafting and to treat them in a more humane manner.
Yeah. Well, it's inspiring, and I think it's going to happen, right? And hopefully Newus is going to lead the way, because there's a big need. So I think of regenerative, and I think of stem cells and growth factors. Diabetic ulcers. That's the tough one. I mean, not anything to do with Newus. It's just been a hard pathology. So just if you don't mind, just talk about that medical part of it in terms of the ability of whether it's stem cells or growth factors or other ways that you've seen this able to integrate and to because it's not the same species, but a lot of the other, right, that you use bovine or other stem cells, and So this is not even an animal, right? It's plants. So I'm just curious more about the science, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
Well, the
And
science
then
when it
we'll
was
have to go to
published,
Pavita and Sandy's questions to make sure we
Okay.
have time. But Joe, please answer it, and then we'll have to go on to Pavita and Sandy and their thoughts.
well, the stem cells will be incorporated based on Dr. Campbell's publication this winter as the perfect platform for delivering stem cells and growth factors. The vesicle binding is 77%. The product for sale on today's market is 43%. So we look forward to just opening up a whole new frontier there. Thanks, Jim.
Awesome.
So,
Sandy.
oh,
Pavita, go. Jump in.
No, that's okay. Okay, I had a similar question, and it was about I remember a company many years ago that was synthesizing skin, and it was for burn and ulcers. And so I'm curious what the advantages are with soy and how it works in the human body compared to some of those other techniques that have been around for a long time. And also, what are the downsides other than being a tasty snack for soy?
I was sort of making fun of myself. We don't have side effects except Pittsburgh mice are always hungrier. The advantages are that this product as an extracellular matrix or a scaffold goes into the wound and it becomes your body. It doesn't come back out. You're not ripping a bandage off. And once the wound absorbs all the gooey exudate, it becomes your body. And with the scaffold in place, the macrophages will cling to it, keratinocytes, you rebuild your own skin, and it accelerates closure, which is the marker we have for wound healing. And with the scaffold, that's why we have hair follicles and sweat glands and minimal to no scarring as opposed to a thick, slick scar, because other bandages will cover and they'll keep moisture in the wound bed for healing, bacteria out to stop infection, but you get a scar. It's not regenerative. And the first time it was applied by the Army down in San Antonio, they didn't know if they applied it or not because it becomes translucent. It melts into the skin. And so, efficacy, appearance, cost, and cultural acceptance probably are our main advantages.
That's great.
Sandy, your thoughts?
Yes. So Joe, I don't have as many questions as I did for the previous, because I feel like Jim and Pavita have done such a good job asking the questions that I would have asked. I do have two comments. One, kudos on having Carnegie Mellon University, my alma mater, as a partner. They're really,
Right.
So I really enjoy that. And also the University of Pittsburgh, they do some amazing things. You really cornered the market in terms of tackling, the top 3 universities doing this type of research in that region. And I also commend you on the unavailable, unaffordable, unacceptable. Those are things that are going to be memorable for me going forward as I think about your company. So from a marketing perspective, that was excellent. I guess the question that I do have for you, however, is compared to the other companies, how are you able to keep your costs down as compared to, is it because of the product? Is it because it's a soybean base? Is it because of the technology that's being deployed? Is it not? I'm just curious as to how you're able to keep costs down. Is that something that you foresee being able to remain as such?
My cost of goods sold is orders of magnitude less expensive because other products, the tissue from pigs, cows, cadavers, whatever, has to be decellularized, sterilized, and then packaged. And no one can perform those duties for less expense than we can take soy protein and electrospin a sheet of readily available skin. Electrospinning was a textile manufacturing methodology for hosiery a long time ago, and you're going to see a plethora of biomaterials derived from electrospinning in the future. That's why we have the electrospun sheets, which are very, very inexpensive, but the doctors and hospitals and everyone would benefit from the same reimbursement codes. So they would make more money. In bundled payments, they would cost less money to treat a patient, and we have that advantage. So it's orders of magnitude less expensive.
Thank you.
All your questions?
Yes.
Did I answer that correctly?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Joe, it's great to have you present. I know I've learned a little bit about your company over the last year or so as you've gotten more involved with Tech United, but it was super interesting to see your presentation. I have one quick question from the audience, and we're going to move on to Pratika, who's our third startup of the day. Ultimately, if there were no barriers to funding for you, you could have limitless funding. What would you do tomorrow? for this company and you're ultimately the patients that you're serving?
My blocking and tackling is to get the regulatory consultants to move this through FDA approval. Once that happens, we could make it available to the diabetic foot ulcer trial at Temple. We could make it available to the US Army and to patients in general. But if I had the right amount of money, I wouldn't have to take one project at a time, which I am now the sheets through. I would revamp the handheld electro spinner. I would make two versions, one very, very ugly and sturdy for the US Army, robust enough so it can't be destroyed by a paramedic in the field. And the other one would be so aesthetically pleasing and beautiful, it would be in every exam room of every dermatologist in the country and the world, because we can only spray skin, we can spray compounds for removing wrinkles and for stopping bleeding, which is why the US Navy was interested. But I would handle my projects in parallel instead of piecemeal, because we've been on the shoestring for a long time.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it. That's a great answer. We're going to bring you back on around 12:55 for our closing remarks, but we have our final presentation of the day from Vital Start Health.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here, and such amazing companies too. Really great. I'll just begin by sharing my screen.
Excellent. Thank you. And you'll have 5 minutes. Perfect. Perfect.
Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody wants to hold the baby, but who holds the mom? That's the question we are addressing through Vital Start Health. I've personally been through postpartum depression and come face to face with the stigma, anxiety, and the indiscrepancies in the healthcare system. This is an enormous problem, the #1 complication in pregnancy and postpartum, perinatal mood, and anxiety disorders. 65,000 near-death experiences occur each year. There's a rising rate in maternal mortality, and 80% of that is preventable. Growing numbers in pregnancy and childbirth complications. So recently there was a study from the Journal of American Heart Association that 40% of those that go through fertility will have pregnancy complications and 26% preterm births. This is an enormous area with clear unmet needs and gaps, and we're focusing on this at Vital Start Health. The market opportunity is also really large. Just globally, it's over $50 billion. In the US, it's $19 billion because 1 million mothers go through this each year. And we are focused as our beachhead on the pregnancy and childbirth complications issue. Hi, everyone. I'm Kritika Parmeshwaran. I'm a Wharton and WashU alum, and I'm the founder and CEO of Vital Start Health. I'm joined by Dr. John Cho, who's a neonatal quality officer at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and an associate professor at Penn Medicine. We are a Penn company, but based in New Jersey and Philadelphia. I live in New Jersey, and we have a phenomenal set of advisors, and growing team. We're part of the Microsoft for Startups, funded through the Science Center, and we're really excited to address this really enormous problem. It costs $19,000 per mother for perinatal mood and anxiety disorders treatment today, and can take up to 5 years. We want to disrupt this completely through our clinically guided, equitable platform that is Web 3.0 ready, has multilingual content, and is one-stop shop platform like a digital companion right from conception through pregnancy and postpartum. We have a health equity pledge and a vision of impacting 1 million mothers in the next 10 years. A unique advantage that we have is our connection with the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, where we have done some initial clinical studies. There's a body of evidence supporting VR use for mental health conditions, stress, depression, OCD, PTSD, all of which are falling under the PMADS umbrella. We've taken that and done some focus group studies as well as initial feasibility study at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia NICU, which was very promising. And we saw the trauma levels come down of the patients just by seeing the VR immersive experiences. So with that, we went further and we've launched a platform, Courage, which has 3 prongs, program and content, a virtual care platform with analytics, the Vital Start Wellbeing Profile, patent pending, and a practitioner network of coaches, practitioners supported by care coordinators. The key differentiator we're bringing to the table is that experiential practice along with the care across the continuum. We do not need any FDA certification because we believe in the hybrid model, as moms are vulnerable in this phase of having a practitioner in the loop. The VR headset is provided to the patient by Vital Start at no cost at all. And care coordinator onboards them onto the platform and takes them with, matches them with a practitioner who will then take them through relaxation, so stress reduction, as well as stress inoculation to desensitize them, prepare them for what's coming in the maternity journey. We have a plug and play approach for different mental health assessment tools, unique algorithms to build this content. And currently what we're doing is we have finished a coaching pilot and we are continuing some studies and going after our B2B market. The coaching pilot was a national pilot that we did, which was really successful. We got, amazing testimonials from that. Patients told us that this approach helped them to actually build a personal practice. The practitioners told us that this having visual cues and a method to help the patients was very effective. And now we're taking this program study and, continuing our IRB for a further study at the CHOP NICU. There is clear value across the board for all the stakeholders, including, of course, for patients, the outcomes, for providers, it's the competitive edge, the ratings, patient acquisition. We recently hired actors and built a NICU tour with psychoeducation. So things of this kind will help in patient acquisition as a high-risk pregnant mom comes through for a NICU tour, for instance. We are also looking for similar things with birthing tours, fertility tours, etc. And with payers, of course, it's reduction in healthcare use, pharma digital companion, and for employers' productivity. Many ways to do mental health. Clear distinction is experiential practice, health equity, because we're using low-cost VR. Our platform works on the high-end VR, but we feel that anything like this has to be affordable, accessible, driving through all the gaps that are there currently. We have looked at, just a few months ago, new codes have come out now for VR therapy by qualified individuals. And of course, there are existing codes for psychotherapy and health behavioral assessment intervention as well. Our go-to-market strategy is focused on B2B and B2B2C. Initially, we're working with perinatal providers, health systems, employers. We've all of these that you're seeing here, we're having some ongoing discussions. We are hoping to begin with health systems as our first customer. We pivoted from B2C, but that was enormous learning. And we use that to go after the targeted folks here as we take this further. Here you're seeing our business model. We have just the content, which is the basic content plus the platform and advanced, and then the content platform and the practitioner staff, basically that we can provide like a managed service, which is our premium model. We have a paid customer actually, which was someone gave a gift to their colleague for baby shower. So we're really excited and we want to take this further and go after $42 million in revenue by 2026. We have achieved a lot. We raised 330,000, 20 more coming in. We've won many awards, the Health and Human Services Award, Racial Equity in Postpartum Challenge, Citizens Bank, National Small Business Champion Award, Rainer Seed Fund, Startup Bucks Grant. And now what we want to do is take all of this momentum, and the drive that we have, phenomenal team, want to onboard the team, drive the sales, and really become that force in maternity mental health. So this is really our milestones, and we're looking to raise a $3 million round now. We've just begun. A few weeks ago, I was at Boston for the Women's Health Innovation Summit, and we were selected. We were 4 companies selected out of 125 to pitch to Ferring Pharmaceuticals, their president and team, as well as the Innovation Showcase. So we've had some, really great momentum recently. Want to have this funding to go towards that, to drive the commercialization and make this success and become that vital sign for maternal well-being. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, you went a little bit over, so we're going to be quicker with the questions here. I'm going to start with Sandy.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. This was very it's very timely, right? As always, because you're again dealing with mental health, but specific to mothers. So I am curious. You mentioned in the presentation that are waiting, I guess, VR codes that would allow for you to bill the actual healthcare plans. What is the timeline on that for you, and how does that impact your ability to deliver?
Oh, Sandy, I'm so glad you asked that question, because no, the code is here. That's what I was saying. Like, it just came out a few months ago, and it's going to from the CMS, which is huge. This was not there earlier. So this is something I literally had to change in the pitch deck. Very excited with that. And that's going to help us make this a reality extremely fast.
Great. And so that's going to help you be able to do this B2B that you're trying to do more quickly and get you to that 42 million projection in 2026. And so what's going to help you get to that number in 2026? I know you've outlined the B2B, the B2B2C, and the partners, but is there anything else that you're doing to further complement that? Advertising? Are you at conferences? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot, actually. The B2C opened our eyes onto, what is needed, the engagement. So we've built our Insta channel. It's grown over 1,000% from when we started. We're doing influencer marketing, which is also turning out to be a very neat thing. But B2C tends to be really expensive, like our conversions, took $600. So we've kind of paused that, and we've pivoted more into seeing, can we reach OBGYNs directly? Or can we reach, doula networks and so on, even as we go after the health systems and, self-insured payers. So at Boston, there was also a major health system there. Their payer arm reached out to us to do a paid pilot. So things of that kind. I want to see if we can grow our team, want to make them full-time. We are around 10 people, but most of it is part-time and consulting. So I want to bring them in completely and go after this in a big way. There are things we have to do in terms of HIPAA. Right now, because we're part of the Microsoft for Startups program, our app is really a cloud-based app. I want to make it into a mobile app to bring more accessibility as well to that. And then, really grow the content, which is always going to be there for us in our company, the bread and butter. So those are kind of the key things that we need to do. We're really excited to take this forward, finally seeing it all come together. The timing is just amazing. This is inevitable in my view. And there is a way for all of us to impact the very fabric of our lives with this.
Thank you.
That's inspiring.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.
So let's go on to hear Pavita's feedback.
Just a quick question. From what I've seen, VR can be, a cost prohibitive type of medium for treatments. So who pays, and is it cost effective whether you're providing that low cost VR set or someone is having to provide it for the patients? But how does that work?
Yeah, great question, Pavita. So when we started, we were doing the high-end VR, and then COVID happened and we had to do our study. There was no way we could afford to give everyone a VR headset. So we pivoted into low cost, and it turned out to be a blessing. The VR headset costs around $45, and we throw that in as part of our customer acquisition costs, because we see that becomes like a really nice engagement with our clients, and it'll help us drive that lifetime value. We want them to start at fertility, stay with us with that VR headset as they go into postpartum. That's the goal here. So that's why. So we just throw that in right now. But the thing is, because the platform is built on the cloud, it works on the browser of an Oculus or any of the other HTC Vive and so on. Right. And with further funding, we can then look into building, and as the price comes down of these headsets, then we want to look to building more of the Unity apps and those kinds of things too.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Jim, you're the last question of this episode before our audience votes. What are your thoughts?
Good. Well, first of all, that was terrific, Kritita. Great job. I guess, I just wondered about the, is this a hormonal? Is it inflammatory? Is it autoimmune? I know that maybe you're somewhat different because you're providing a headset that can try and put people in a state of mind that is therapeutic, but I'm just curious if you have any views on that.
Oh yeah, Jim, my God, this is like one of my favorite topics. So there is definitely things at the genetic level, like mom genes, the kind of research that's happening in Mount Sinai right now. It's phenomenal. It's much more than maternal instincts that we think. It's not just mind and body. There's actually a genetic change that occurs in parents, not just in moms. Those are amazing things which we like to look at in the future, the epigenetic aspects of this as we go through this journey. Like, hey, if you relax the mom even before they get into conception, what does that mean genetically? Those kinds of things. We know that the studies are showing us that the earlier you give the interventions, the better the outcomes are throughout in maternity. And that's a key stance we've taken, is to get as early as we can in terms of prevention. So yeah, that's a phenomenal topic. Would love to go much deeper into those kinds of things as well.
Yeah, but to your point, it's going to take decades, right? But because there's nutrition and there's environment, so it's going to take a long time. And it's not clear. It wasn't clear to me if you were suggesting that IVF exacerbates, right? If there's
so Jim, I didn't mean to cut you there, but exactly, Jim, this was another eye-opening study for me. It's from the Journal of American Heart Association, that the cardiovascular risks increase for mothers after they go through fertility. I mean, now, obviously, there are many other factors. Most moms are going through fertility when they're a little older than typically is done as well. So that could be impacting, they're saying. But it's 40% of these pregnancies that go through fertility will have high-risk pregnancies and 26% preterm births. That's what they're saying in that journal, in this paper.
Yeah. Well, that's actually very interesting. I would like to follow up on that, but just one last point. So on the clinical, you've mentioned studies. What regulatory, right, relative to Joe mentioned Newus, but for Vital Start. So what regulatory and clinical trial is going to be needed to get the adoption from OBGYNs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because we have the human in the loop and there's predicate in the market for XR in behavioral health, we do not need an FDA pathway right now, at least, as far as I know. If something changes, I don't know, but we do not need that FDA pathway, but we do need GDPR compliance for the external parts of the world. We need the HIPAA compliance, and those are things that we're putting into place right now.
Yeah.
And in terms of clinical studies, right now we're doing that program study, which will also show a goal here, Jim, is that it should not take you 5 years in talk therapy or even, a few years in. We want to drive that cost benefit ratio. And our program study, we're actually trying to show a gain in 4 weeks. Because there is some precedence to this from the Army for PTSD. They've been able to show gain in 3 to 8 weeks. We spoke to them, the VA in Philadelphia.
Yeah, good.
Jim, I'd love to connect you two offline because I've only got 1 more minute to wrap this show up, if that's okay. So thank you all for joining us, to our judges for providing not only insightful questions, but a level of encouragement that we love to see in all of our Tech United programming, and the level of support. We really, really appreciate that, as well as all of your time. To our 3 founders, you are doing incredible work. The healthcare industry couldn't be more proud of founders like you who are shaping our future across so many different industries. For the first time ever, we actually have a 3-way tie on the winner of the Audience Choice Award. So you are all winners today. This has never happened on all 18 episodes. So we're going to send you each a winner's graphic that you can share and promote on this episode of Startup Showdown. We're going to be doing our final episode of the year on December 8th. We hope you all can join us there. Congratulations. And exactly at time, we're just going to end with our high five. We hope to see you all soon. So high five your camera on the count of 3, okay? 3, 2, 1. All right. Everybody have a great day. Congratulations and thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See you.